Peace and love to all viewers. I want to thank you for tuning into another episode of the P.R.E.S.S, the P.R.E.S.S Prisoners Release Education Sanity Series. This is the podcast where we discuss economics, politics, racism, religion, all different things you could think of in order to come to a terminal objective where we strive to educate before incarcerate. However, once the crime committed, we know incarceration becomes necessary as a penalty and a price to pay if you go out there and you hurt somebody's loved ones or do something to violate law and you don't have the means to conduct yourself in a courtroom financially and mentally, then you're going to prison. So, long story short, we're doing a series on why children in America commit crimes and who is responsible for these children committing crimes in America.
Topic of the day: who is responsible for children committing crime in America? Only on the P.R.E.S.S podcast. Let's go. This episode of the P.R.E.S.S is sponsored by the e-firm Don't Let Your Loved Ones Become an American Prisoner. Visit us at efirm.org.
And today with me I have a very special guest, which I consider like family, also a friend. Haven't known him forever, but we definitely have known each other recently enough where I consider him like family to me. And the thing is, our communication been great, but I want to give him a chance to introduce himself to the world.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Amar, for having me on your show. I appreciate it. Thank you, Virginia, for having me down here. My name is Darryl Pringle. I am from College, Queens, New York. I'm down here visiting my family down here, which is Amar, too, is my family. And I'm here on behalf of working on some documentaries, which I'm a two-time Emmy Award winner for Jam Master Jay documentary, Set the Record Straight. I'm also worked in the music industry with DMX, Jam Master Jay, Salt and Pepper, Culture Records of MC Shan and Marley Marl. So right now I'm here, and your honor, brother, just to, give you some knowledge and history about myself.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that introduction. Well said. He's a well-rounded individual, and he's very, very connected and known with people who basically ain't even gonna deal with you unless you have some form of integrity. So this man got his stuff in order, and I know he's gonna give us some good wisdom to go off that we could take to places for not only today but in the future and leave this legacy that we planting along for youth to observe this stuff long after we're gone from here. So with that being said, you say you want two Emmys. What exactly inspired that?
Well, what inspired that is my youngest daughter. She's an actress, and when she was 12 years old, she wrote a play, and her acting coach, which is named Tracy Moore, she's a well-known acting coach in the industry. So I was going to do a reality show for Jam Master Jay's kids and Big Pun and Biggie's children. I was going to call it My Father's Keeper, the name of the show, basically showing the kids taking over their dad's legacies and keeping it going.
Yeah, because you grew up with all these guys, right?
Right. But basically, Jam Master Jay, I knew Biggie, when I worked in the industry and stuff, and I met Big Pun's son a couple of times. So it was an idea I had to do this, documentary
for the fallen fathers.
Right, for them. So Tracy Moore, which is a good friend of my friend Jackie Love, she's Kid Capri's sister. So my daughter used to model for her, and so she put me into Tracy Moore. And Tracy Moore, I met Tracy Moore that I wanted to do a mini-series about, these kids, father and dad's legacy. So she had called me one day and she said, Darryl, I got a project for you. And I said, what is it? She says, Darla Miles from Channel 7 News is going to do a documentary on Jam Master Jay's murder case. And I said, really? She said, she looking for somebody, being you from College, Queens and stuff like that, to help with her project. And I said, I'm very interested. So she said, well, I'm going to call Darla for you. And she called her for me. We did a three-way conversation. And she mentioned to me that she wanted to do a documentary on Jam Master Jay's, murder case. That she was, already had started it. And bringing me on made it even better because most of the guys in the Hollis crew that I grew up with lived in the neighborhood and basically knew all of them. So it's kind of easy, basically, to get in contact with some of these guys, you know, to get them a documentary.
So she ended up winning 4 Emmys for that, and you won.
I won 2 Emmys. Yes.
Okay. And still on the rise to counting success from that as things progress.
Yes.
Nice, man. Nice.
Yep.
So basically, Jam Master Jay's murder was a murder that took place in the studio out in Queens, right?
Yes.
And when this murder took place, it was more than 18 years ago.
Yeah, 21 years ago.
A lot of people may not remember who Jam Master Jay is in the younger generation, but he's the DJ for Run DMC.
Right.
If you know of Run DMC, you know they paved the way in the rap industry for a lot of the rappers to even entertain on the level that they're entertaining right now.
Right.
And Jam Master Jay, from my understanding, was a good person and wanted to help his community and wanted to build his community up. He was known, from my understanding, in his community as like a legendary figure of hope for those who was coming out of poverty and trying to struggle to the top. So, how many houses did you stay away from Jam Master Jay growing up?
A few blocks away. I lived on 114th over Farmers. He lived on 203rd and Hollis. So basically, 201st and Hollis. So that's about a good 8 blocks away from each other.
Okay.
I could walk to his house.
Okay, you was 8 blocks from Jam Master Jay, but you was closer to LL Cool J.
He lived 12 houses from me.
He lived 12 houses from you. Okay, so you and him have a good relationship as well.
Yes.
All right, that's good, man. That's good. So, in fact, what happened? Didn't LL recently get a statue put up of him in New York?
Yes, I was responsible. Sherman, the sculpture artist, he's a hip hop sculpture artist, we call him right now, because he's doing a Biggie sculpture, the Prodigy sculpture, the Five Dog sculpture, and another sculpture he did. Five Dog, Prodigy, Five Dog, and Jam Master Jay sculpture. So at the time, me and Sherman was hanging out together. Except he had did a what you call it? He had like a display of his sculptures in the park in Queens. So what happened is I saw it, and Ghost Dead, Venus, Mizell, Jam Master Jay's cousin, she plugged me into him.
Okay.
So me and him got together, and I was like, I got an idea for you. And he said, what? I said, when you do a sculpture of LL Cool J, you do a younger version of him, not today's version of him. Let's do a young version of him showing the people that he's been in his game for over about close to 40 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was 16 years old when he first started, So I said, it'd be a big thing for you. And I gave him an idea. I said, his first album was radio. So do the box radio, which he did, and do a young version of him wearing a Kango. Because it's going to show a young generation how long this guy's been in the industry. He's like, he's Def Jam's first artist. He's also Def Jam, like I say, he's the youngest guy to this day, still around. And he's 54 years old, still doing it. So the sculpture was very big. It did very big on social media, and to the fact that he bought the sculpture, he owns it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's prevailed in the industry.
Yes.
In a lot of ways, and he's kept his name out of a lot of garbage.
Yes. Right.
Unlike a lot of the unlike certain artists that we can go into, multiple artists that have been caught up in the different type of trauma and drama all over the place in the media. Whether it's social media, the regular big TV media, they just been caught up. Radio brought announcements about their character, just different things that people have experienced in the industry. But LL is one of those artists where he did hold his composure in the industry, and he's excelled. And I'm glad for that, brother.
Yes,
that he don't have to suffer to a lot of things that some people are going through, even like now with the Puff Daddy situation.
Right.
And that's a real serious situation right now, because right now, if despite what is true and what's not true, we don't know the full truth about his situation.
Right.
I'm one of the ones that deal with 3-dimensional thinking, if I can, what I'm saying, and when I can.
Right.
And anybody who know where I'm going with that, they know that you observing truths right there.
Right.
Well, from a standpoint of looking at the objects and ideas around you.
Right.
Where you're not just judging based on what's presented to you.
Right.
You're looking at things for what they are and also what they can be.
Right.
And so when you looking at things for that aspect, you're really analyzing information and conversations that's being had. So I try not to judge anybody. I did hear a very interesting conversation recently with Suge Knight though about the industry and about a lot of this stuff that's going on.
Right.
And I gotta say, man, a lot of guys in the industry, they haven't held their composure because they come from different cloths.
Right.
Some dudes are cut from this cloth, some dudes are cut for that cloth.
Right.
And you know, they get caught up in the different things based on what their lifestyle is previously before even coming in the industry.
That's right.
Because a lot of the companies out here where people have that's very successful, when you look at the foundation of the rappers that have companies, a lot of these rappers have companies and they've built their foundation for success as an ideal based on happening from drug dealing before getting in the industry. So that leaves a false hope in a lot of youth that, okay, I can hustle these drugs and farm my way into the industry when that's not the truth or how they really got funded. You know, and so LL one of those artists that I could say I didn't hear that from over the years that I can remember growing up. I remember songs that he made way back, even back to Pink Cookies in a Plastic Bag. You know what I'm saying? Getting crushed by a building. And I used to like those songs like that. And I don't remember them telling me to sell drugs at one point. And I don't remember. Go ahead.
You know, my thing is, my thing with these new artists is these days, because you don't have to sell drugs to sell records.
Facts.
You can just take your, you know, if you don't live that life, don't talk it. That's my thing about it. You know, because the real guys will come test you.
That's right.
And you telling another man's story. That you didn't live. So you gotta falsify yourself of of telling negative stories, you know, on your songs that you didn't even do.
Exactly.
Sell records. You know, and it's about, you know, you could be, look at J. Cole or Kanye West. They sell big. You know what I'm saying? Because they put positive songs in there. They did, you know, back in the days, you know, we had songs, self-destruction. You had Don't Curse. You know what I'm saying? There was more creativity in music now. Now everybody wants to be gangsters, everybody wants to be killers.
Yeah, there's a lot of positive music out there. There's a lot of positive artists out there.
And unfortunately, those guys are kept underground. Because you have a lot of guys that are dope, I mean, females too, that can really rhyme, and they have, you know, they have knowledge to drop on his music. So that talent is definitely kept underground. It's hidden, and that's why when we talk about who's responsible for children committing crime in America, we never avoid to take a look and analyze with that three-dimensional thinking I'm talking about, and that two-dimensional thinking, and not just seeing things as they're presented. We never cease to analyze that rap industry, that music industry, to see what's really going on there, and how is this affecting the psychological development of our youth that's developing within America, that we are screaming and asking them to be successful, asking them not to be a gang member, asking them not to be a drug dealer, asking them not to do all these things, but we're presenting success from the foundation of being involved in these things, where people are getting $300, $400, $500 million checks, and they're literally showing that flagged up or whatever, and the thing is, after they display that, they're still rich. So what you think a youth in poverty gonna think success can come from? It can come from living that lifestyle. Unfortunately, corporate America got involved into our music, and the problem is right now we don't control our music anymore. You know, so they sit down at the table and they say, well, you know what? Because they control our music, they say, well, this guy, so you know, he's saying some positive stuff that uplift our people. So we have to put an end to this. So we have to push them to underground, and then you promote the Cardi B's, you promote, what's it, Young Gotti or these other guys, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like Suge Knight was saying, on the interview he did from the prison, when he was calling in on the phone. It was 15-minute interview calls, so he had to keep calling. But like he was saying on the podcast interview, Suge Knight was speaking on that exact thing about how the industry need to be rebuilt. It need to be rebuilt because, and it need to be, that rap industry need to be rebuilt because a lot of the talent that could actually develop the mindset, the winning mindset, is being blocked.
It's being blocked.
Which is why I try to create different avenues of counteracting curriculums and things like that that would teach these guys to take all these youth, that take the good potential out of these things, and understand the potential to be destroyed within this industry. Because what's happening in all reality, man, is if you listen to not only Suge Knight interview, you listen to Krayzie Boone, where Krayzie Boone ain't really crazy.
No, he's not crazy.
He's not crazy.
He's telling the truth.
He's telling you a lot of truths, which is why you don't hear a lot of his music. And and a lot of this music from these type of artists is being streamlined out of the Apple and Spotify and stuff like that. And so you don't really see it. And or hear it. It don't meet the ears of the masses. And so you look at artists like that, P.R.E.S.S, different artists that talk revolution talk. People want to deny that we need a revolution. A revolution just means you're gonna have a revolt. A great change is gonna take place by the stance that's taken. That stance don't necessarily have to be a physical negative war where you killing each other. It could be a stance against falsification that's presented as legit education and really miseducates and causes the ICD, which is the incorrect conceptualization damage that takes place in these youth that caused them to become criminal minded. Because no child born with a criminal mind.
Actually, unfortunately, you know, we had the KRS ones, we had the Public Enemies, Lauryn Hill, you know what I'm saying, as a female rapper, you know, to teach positive in our music. And that's been washed away. But once again, we don't control our music. And it's sad because the talent level that's out here, and I've heard younger people that, you know, they say spit them bars, spit that real music and kick that real stuff, and stuff like that being pushed to the side. And the whole problem is right now is that, like he said, like Suge Knight said, and I agree with him, the music industry has to be rebuilt all over again. Because the ears is different now, and everybody's so caught up into the falsifying, you know, they falsify everything, you know, I got this and I got that. My thing right now is with, you know, these new artists is that, you know, make good music.
Make good music. Take the hate out and put the love in. Because the thing is, like, that music with love, like you said, it's been pushed to the side. And the hate being promoted. That's why I love this song with Moon Love. That she said, Made for Me. It's a very loving song. Even down to the, like, Stephanie Mills. I'm happy to see that song, Made for Me, go to the top of the charts, because it's like it's promoting love, and not hate. It's promoting togetherness.
You look at the music.
Come together back to me. You know what I'm saying? Be together. Like that. They're going music like Stephanie Mills. Learn to respect the power of love. I learn to respect the power of love.
That's right.
Stuff like that has been taken out. You know,
there's a young gentleman I like right now. His name is
music is like books.
London October. He sounded like Marvin Gaye.
Who that?
London October.
London October. Yeah.
He sounded like Marvin Gaye. And he has a song called "Take Me to Your Place," and that song is you know, it's so vintage to me when I hear that song. This is a young man, so like Marvin Gaye, here at 24 right now.
And we need that. And that's one of my favorite artists, Marvin Gaye, man. I had the opportunity to, you know, go into a lot of his personal life for real. Like I could go to Miss Ziola house right now. Miss Ziola Gay, that's his sister.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I could go to her house. Miss Ziola Gay is a very, very stand-up woman. She's very intelligent person. No man, like she just wholesome. She's got integrity. From what I seen and met of her, that's what I got of her. She welcomed me in her house. You know, so I seen a lot of his personal life. My friend that connected me to another friend, which led to me and Ziola having a good relationship. Where I can actually have her. I have her name in my phone now. You know, Cecil Jenkins, who is literally like Miss Ziola's brother. And Marvin Gaye's brother. I mean, when I say that, they literally lived together and for years. This man and Marvin might as well had the same father and mother. That type of relationship where, you know, in the process of going on the West Coast and actually getting the real live upfront information and contacts and sit down real time experience with people like that, learning about Barry Gordy and people like that and what they actually brought to this industry and what they was trying to do. Not only Barry Gordon, even down to you look at Suge Knight. Suge Knight wasn't paid by nobody
Right.
to get in this industry.
Right.
Suge Knight created a entrepreneurship concept that basically produced artists and made artists rich, because a lot of what he did put a lot of those other artists in position to get those big checks.
That's right.
Because he wouldn't sell his company.
That's right.
He wouldn't sell Death Row when he was offered $700 million.
That's right.
He said, no, why would I do that? I got artists that can make me way more than $700 million.
That's right. You know, that's the whole problem right now. I think it's, you know, they throw you a bone and you're supposed to jump and bite it. And
when you don't, you get ridiculed.
Right.
And
Right.
looked at as
Right.
a
As a
bad
sellout.
person.
Right. You guys are sell out. Oh, he sold out because he took the $700 million, but at the same time, you could have made $100 billion. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And a lot of times it's.
But economically, who want a man that looked like me or you in America to have $100 billion?
Right.
A man that looked like you and I with $100 billion,
Right.
especially with a mentality, can change things
Right.
for the better.
Right.
And you have people that's not seeking the better.
Right.
And if you're not seeking it better, you're going to try to block education so
Right.
that you can continue on with the incarceration.
That's right.
Because if we go back to what Krayzie Boone said,
Right.
he said that he was put in a room
Right.
with a bunch of people
Yep.
that from the industry.
Yep.
He said most of these executives
Yep.
were owners of private prisons
Yep.
or had investments in private prisons.
That's right.
These private prisons that they had invested in need to be filled with beds, basically.
That's right.
And pretty much they was advised to make a certain level of music. Because see, music is like books.
Music's a very powerful tool.
When you're listening to it, it's like a book being
Right.
taught to you in English
Right. It's a very-
mouth. So it's like your brain is recording and learning from this music.
Right, right.
So if they're told to put certain lyrics out there,
Right.
and they refuse to put those lyrics out there, from my understanding, they was told to walk up out the door.
Right.
Now,
Right.
get out. The ones that agreed to put the garbage on the tracks
Right.
was told to stay.
Right. My thing is, music's a very powerful tool. It can make you happy, sad, or even go out there and kill.
Right.
That's how powerful music
It's
is.
very powerful.
It's a very powerful
Very
tool.
powerful.
It's a weapon of destruction, especially in the black community.
It's a very powerful thing.
You know, so, but sometimes you can't always blame the music, because sometimes you gotta blame parenting. You gotta blame.
Oh yeah.
You gotta blame, you know, people that's negative people that's in their lives.
Parents has a responsibility when we talk about the dismantling the criminal mindset that's developing in our youth, because we know they're not born with a criminal mind.
Right.
We don't fail to acknowledge that parents have a great responsibility.
Right.
That the artists that's leading the community
Right.
of youth that's listening to them, they have a responsibility.
Right.
That is not, because I ask myself a lot of time,
Right.
is it the parents in the rap industry more,
Right.
or is it the government? The big industry that's allowing certain policies
Right.
to fly around that won't actually parent the way music is presented to the youth.
Right.
And so I said that, yeah, we love freedom of speech.
Right.
But we don't love going into the courtroom when our child have been programmed to
Right.
be a straight killer,
Right.
and they getting a life sentence.
Right. Right.
So my thing is, freedom of speech is fine, but understand what speech can do.
Exactly.
Speech can program wrong and it can program right. So the way the language comes out need to be right and exact.
Right.
Where it's building and not destroying.
Yes.
We have an option,
We sure do.
but we gotta know that
When
option.
you look at the past couple of years, this new generation of the murders that have been happening, it's very sad to me, because, you know, in this country we had to fight, and, you know, we did took whoopings and beatings and, you know, lynchings, and then to come far in our lives, especially overcoming the civil rights and being who we are today, we come far. We have so much ways to go, because the young generation thinks that being a gangster makes you sell records, and it's not. I tell us, listen, you got to make good music. You know, you can sell records without talking about killing your brother. Look what's happened the last couple of years. You know, Pop Smoke got killed.
Right.
King Von got killed.
Right.
What's the gentleman from the Migos? He got killed. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
Offset.
Right. He got killed. You know what I'm saying? So it's that, why are these things happening? You know, basically some of these guys are living up their hype. Because it's all nothing but hype. Because a lot of these guys are not who they are. And
Yeah,
you don't need to go out there and...
Well, they don't know. A lot of them don't know who they are. A lot of them have the money,
Right.
but they don't know who they are. See, knowledge itself is so
Right.
vital. It's
Right.
so vital, and it's like a vital sign of life.
Right.
Like your knowledge itself is going to determine so much. When I look at the murder like of Offset, even I just, when you mention them, the first thing that hit my mind is like, who killed them though?
Right. But you know what?
Who killed him? Was it the person that killed him?
Right.
Was, like I said, when I say nobody on average, and
Right.
I'm that's have a negative idea
Right.
and negative intent for our community,
Right.
wants to see a person that look like you or me with $100 billion. When I say that not just because we got black skin, meaning they don't want to see nobody look like me or you if they got negative intents with black skin that got a mind, that can think, that can actually say, hey, I'm going to go in this city and I'm going to clean this up. And I got the economic resources to do it. You know, I can put people in position, provide some means of getting these people to use their labor successfully that's in poverty to help me do this job. These people in poverty that I can't provide payroll for, first and foremost, they thinking about how they can eat. So they can't help me train a youth that's going astray to get on the right path, because they trying not to go astray due to starvation.
What I admire about some of these rappers, such as the Master P, even T.I. He, you know, these guys are buying real estate. And building communities. For the young black youth to be in somewhere where they can have hope. Somewhere that's not, you know, you're not being around the violence and stuff like that.
I love Master P, and I love, he's a real entrepreneur.
I was gonna work with him one time. He was gonna do No Limit East in New York, back in the early 2000s, and I was hooked with his Uncle Greg. At the time, I worked at DMX label was folding or under, and I said, you know what, me find a label to go to, and I went to Master P. He was on 106 Park. I met him in the city, and you know, we was talking and everything at the time. He was about to form No Limit East. I could work that label here in New York. Unfortunately, it never happened. But you know, when I, you know, like I said, I see some of these young rappers out here, you know, buying real estate and stuff. You know, like I said, you gotta be out here, you know, just getting yourself in trouble, sell records. You know, only thing you gotta do right now in this game right now is just stay positive. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you got a lot of negative, you know, rappers right now. What's that girl's name? Sexy Red. She's definitely not positive for young black women. You know what I'm saying? Like Rapsody, she's dope. I mean, I heard her, and she could rhyme. She's from North Carolina too. She could really rhyme. They don't even push up because she's not wearing, you know, naked clothes and stuff like that.
Well, we're gonna push Rapsody.
Right.
We're gonna figure out a way to push it more.
Yeah, she's real good. I mean, you know,
support Rapsody.
Yeah, Rapsody. She's good. She's a good female artist. You know, and like I said, you got all these young dudes. But my thing is this: is that money shouldn't change you. A lot of times right now, in this day and age, you got young dudes get a lot of money off their shows.
It is.
And my thing is, you know, like I tell people, I go where the people go that's working, you know, in the same industry as me. You can't go to the hood. I'm sorry, you can't be shooting a dice game when you're in the hood. You know what I'm saying? That's not, you know, some guys about keeping it real. Keeping it real is being safe.
Right.
Because you get, you know, you're owner. When your money changes, you gotta change your avenue of people too. I'm
with you on that. Right, you keeping it real is being safe, but keeping it real is also not selling your soul. And see, you mentioned Sexy Red, you mentioned T.I. And I'm gonna say this now. I had the opportunity of actually visiting T.I.'s museum because his trap museum. I actually go and visit museums around the country because I own the E-Firm. The E-Firm, the Ex-Felon Entrepreneurship Retail Museum, is an actual museum that's designed to dismantle the criminal mind. And it shows a history of how this mass incarceration system developed and how not to become a product of that development and why that development actually promotes certain activity in order to make a profit off of your labor and your existence pretty much by having your body placed in that shell block. That shell block, I call it, because it's a shell, not only a cell, you're placing that cell block of steel and barbed wire gates. Now, when I seen T.I.'s museum, when I went down to Atlanta and visited, you know, I love T.I. music. That's one of my favorite artists. I love T.I. music.
Right.
He had made songs when I was incarcerated.
Right.
That when he got incarcerated, I was already incarcerated. But when he did get incarcerated, and I was listening to the music he made when he came home, I was still incarcerated.
Right.
Man, I was listening to the music, and I just was like, yo, I felt every word he was saying in that
right.
when he was going through them trials and error with the feds for them guns.
Right.
And I was like, yo, I love T.I., you know, the Rubber Band Man. So then I had, once I came home and I developed my museum, I just kept on searching. Right. And don't get it twisted, my museum was actually, I had developed it like 2 years before I think T.I. developed his 2 years after mine.
Right.
And so I said, yeah, let me go check this out, T.I. in the museums.
Right.
So I went down there to Atlanta.
That's right.
And you know, you gotta be careful who you let represent you, man.
Yes.
So I went to the museum, and it's so much I could have did with it.
Right.
When I saw it, I was like, it was like the bricks of cocaine was made out of, the walls was made out of bricks of cocaine, like it was a bricks wall. Right. And so I'm looking at all this different stuff, the cell block he had in there and stuff.
Right.
And you know, I got a cell in the museum.
Right.
When I take you there, you gonna see it.
Okay.
So I was looking at his concept and how I could educate people within it. But see, there was no real educated tour guides in there that that was able to educate people on the trap and what T.I. had actually, the curator, it wasn't no real curators there that could educate people. Right. So they was just collecting their money at the door. Right. And T.I., I mean, the people would come in and they was getting money, of course. And the people come in and they go inside and they just walk around taking pictures, looking at different stuff. You got the Jeezy section in there. And they looking at the different lifestyle that they came up from selling drugs or whatever. And I'm like, yo, but where's the educational part? And so I asked somebody up front, I left them my real rap book. And I was like, yo, can you get this to T.I.? They, first thing people think, you want their money.
Of course.
Like, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. All right? So I was looking at this reality of how this museum was going, how these people was able to be drawn to the museum because T.I. is a brand.
Your brand.
And see,
that's right.
So many people out and from our community become brands.
That's right.
And they're not fully educated on what to do with it. And I'm not saying T.I. not educated because that man's smart. I watch him. I listen to him. I listen.
You know,
I listen well.
I tell people is that
he may not have the time to do what I want him to do. That's why I offered to help him. I said, look, let me help T.I. do this museum project. It's something I can help him with. Forget engineering a song. I ain't that. But I can engineer this museum. I said, yo, let me get down on the X-Felon Entrepreneurship Retail Museum, connect me and T.I. So we can get to these youth and really start changing their mindset. Because I like what he's trying to go with it, but the education not being presented right. And I can educate these children on why these walls are built with bricks. And give them some positive information to take with them as we draw them to that trap museum. Because you draw them, but once we get them there, we got to feed them. And I ain't talking about physical food. We got to feed them mental food.
You look at,
that's going to keep them from starving.
You look at people like, you know, I met 50 Cent before he blew up. He was one of Master Jay's artists. And of course, Jay taught him the business. I tell people, it's called show business. It is 50% show, 100% business. Okay, them contracts tells you you should own your masters, trademark your name, own your name, and copyright. Those are the most important things in this business. Is to own your name. Like a lot of times people don't realize trademark and copyright are two different things. It's separate. So you should own your name. A lot of times these labels own these artists' name. The NBA owns these players' name. NFL only players' names. So now they're selling jerseys, they're selling whatever you have, they make money off of you. And you can't make money off yourself. You know what I'm saying? So this is the problem right now that we have in this generation. You know, they're smart of making money, but they're not smart of investing businessmen. They're not businessmen. You know, you can buy a private jet like that. Let me tell you something. You know, and I tell people, I don't care how many degrees you have. I know guys that don't have degrees and they're millionaires.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? It's all about It's all about having a drive. You know what I'm saying? Staying focused. You know what I'm saying? And having a good people around you. That's going because I tell people Jay-Z is not smart. He has the people around him. You know what I'm saying? He has people that he has a sports management company. He didn't know about sports. He hired sports agents. You know what I'm saying? He's that brand. So he's that.
Well, Jay-Z's smart,
right.
but Jay-Z's not
right.
the one that's managing every one of these companies.
Right.
Because he's smart enough to put those people in position
right.
and pay them and not let that money sit in that account.
Right.
He paying them to help him be a legacy for for Blue
right.
and the rest of them
right.
seeds.
Right.
So I get what you're saying, and I want people to not misinterpret that
right.
because and try to come out like, what do you mean Jay-Z is smart? No, Jay-Z is smart.
Right.
And that's not to kiss Jay-Z butt neither.
Right.
But Jay-Z's smart enough to take his money and put it in certain places
right.
so that he don't end up in poverty
right.
financially.
Right.
Where he can't take care of those children after introducing them to a certain lifestyle.
Because he's a brand, people step to him and say, you know, it's the idea of the 40-40 club. Or me might say, I got a car. And like, I mean, me personally, if I had the money right now, there's no black man that owns a car company. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I would develop my own car, buy a Bugatti and stuff like that, or somebody else.
Right.
I develop my own car. You know what I'm saying? This is the things that we got. When these kids are in power, they don't understand how much power they have.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, to show the young kids out here become entrepreneur. You know, to go out here and say, listen, you know, I got ideas, do this and do that, make it happen. So these young kids say, guess what? You know what? This is what he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, he came from a poverty area, and then he built himself up to this $1 billion brand. You know what I'm saying? So, you know,
right.
Like I said, guys like 50 Cent, like I said, I met him. I remember talking to him in front of Universal Records, and we was talking early 1999.
50 smart.
Yes, and I said to him, I heard you bid war for you. You know, Bad Boy would have signed him, Def Jam would have signed him, Universal would have signed him, Dr. Dre would have signed him. And I said, I'm not saying I take credit for it, but me and him talked, and I said, yo, East Coast rapper with a West Coast producer, you're gonna win. And when I heard the radio, he signed with he signed with Eminem's label. You know what I'm saying? I was like, that's gonna be big. He signed with Aftermath, and look at him right now. My friend Orville Hall just helped him build his studio out there in Louisiana. They had a big thing last week, you know. And this guy come from, but he's the real deal. Nothing he talks is fake.
50.
Right. Nothing.
Right.
He lived that life. His mother was a hustler. She got murdered. You know what I'm saying? And
trust me, 50 is a 50. Yeah, I that's one of my favorite artists too.
Yeah, he's
Many Men.
Yes.
Was death upon me, blood in my dog. Trust me.
Right.
Hey, 50, yeah, he put it down. But see, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand. I look at it from not one dimension, man, and
right.
even down to like Sexy Red.
Right.
Like, you got to look at the product. Right. And look at the promoter of the product. You
right.
got to look at the financer of the product.
Right.
You know, who's really behind the product.
Right.
And so when I look at Sexy Red, I'm like, what? Do Sexy Red present herself on that track to make all this money like she do? Or do she go buy 50 bricks with that money and put out in her community and say, I ain't gonna put no more music out like this.
Right.
I'm gonna sell these bricks and let them put me in federal penitentiary.
Right.
Or do she say, no, I got my children. I'm gonna present myself how I know how to present myself.
Right.
Now it's up to me. This is where I come in at.
Right.
I feel like it's up to people like me that know to educate Sexy Red.
Right.
She probably I don't know her situation with her father. I don't know her situation how she came up.
Right.
So all I know is she come from a struggle.
Right. She came up rough. You know, I seen the document. I seen something about her, and she came up rough. You know, and I don't knock nobody.
No, I know you don't, but what you said, I understand. You're saying what's being presented to the youth is negatively affecting the development of the young girls.
Right.
Even my daughters like Sexy Red.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, how you learn about Sexy Red? But the TikTok, YouTube shorts, you ain't gonna miss it.
Right.
It's hard to miss it unless you just restrict all the cell phone, all the computers. They get all their friends from coming around them.
It's being forced on them.
You can't desocialize them.
Right.
So my thing is, and it's hard to have, I wish I did have 10 of me around me.
Right.
That was with that education for real.
Right.
And would actually come together at that round table and build daily, not once a month, once every 2 weeks.
Right.
Daily on let's do something about this.
Right.
Let's do, because my thing is, these people that's being put in position to make this money in my museum for the artists, they're in the Acts of Heroes section.
Right.
You know why? Because I show the youth how a lot of these artists they're not paid to present themselves as this hero.
Right.
I show them giving away to education,
Right.
funds.
Right.
I show them helping homeless people,
Right.
helping communities do this, helping
Right.
community do that.
Right.
Over in Africa, 50 Cent,
Right.
with the people in poverty conditions over there, trying to help increase their lifestyle of
Right.
living.
Right.
So I show those pictures in the museum
Right.
of these people because what you hear on the music radio
Right.
and what they have in their heart is
Right.
two different things. They not always getting paid for what they have in their heart.
That's true.
They're getting paid for presenting what's needed. Like Krayzie Boone would say,
Right.
you present this or you getting blocked.
Right. Right.
All right?
Yes. That's controlled.
That's control.
That's control, because that thing is okay. Well, anything that's gonna uplift our people, they're gonna find a way to, dismantle it. You know.
But our people have to become a little more serious about this conversation.
Right.
They have to become a little more serious about the fact that this music is a program.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
programming your child.
Right.
And while you're not training that child, you're just raising them, giving them food and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
Food, physical food, take
Right.
a bath here and there.
Right.
You're not really educating and training this child to combat what war is being put in front of them.
That's right.
To destroy them without their awareness.
You know what? It also starts in the education system. Because I work in
Yes.
the education system, I work in the school system.
School to prison pipeline.
And I learned working for education because I saw so much that went on. Like our black kids being put on medication for no reason.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's all about just discipline. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And me working in that education for a while and seeing this type of stuff, it made me realize back when I was going to school back then, I was like, wow, certain dudes is, put on medication for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And after that, you basically kind of destroy them.
Right.
And you give them that negative, energy that they're going to be nothing in life. Because
Right.
the prisons, the schools, record labels all work together. You know what I'm saying? So I learned that too, and I was like, this is really deep. It's deeper than I thought it is. You know what I'm saying? That the schools, the prisons, record labels all work together. And that by the time a kid's in 5th grade, they already know where we're gonna be at. They're gonna say, guess what? And they used to tell me that too when I was younger.
That's right.
Oh, you're gonna be in jail.
That's right.
Stuff like that. You
That's
know what
right.
I'm saying? And I had to turn, one day I was being in the streets and I said, you know what, this is whack, this is garbage. This is, and I got the music industry and I didn't get a Grammy, a Grammy for music. I got 2 Emmy Awards for television. So I take that, but it took me 27 years to get this. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
but there's a struggle to get there. Like
Right.
You don't get there overnight.
Right, and I didn't give up because every time people say, "Oh, you still doing this, you still doing that stuff?" I said, "Yeah," because you know what? I have a passion for it. I love it, and same thing I do. I do mentoring in New York. I actually mentor boys. They'll get in trouble in school and stuff like that. And I thank God that my presence helped these guys go to college. Most of them are in college now, and some of them graduated already.
Yeah, cause you do something like a event every year for the youth in the area, right? When you bring all the artists out and stuff.
I was doing mentoring in a program called Project Hype with a detective that retired, and he started a program with the kids, with the boys, and we would have like St. John's University kids come to on Saturdays and tutor the kids on Saturdays to prepare them for the exams. I did basketball with them. I'm also coaching the LL Cool J basketball for a couple of years. A new company took over now, but I was a part of that for 16 years of coaching the LL Cool J basketball tournament. I also had the guys in a wheelchair play in the tournament too one year, 2016. I had the handicap play, and it was a big event. We were very big on social media. I'm the type of person that just sits back and think about things that what could be and what should be, and I'm not a selfish person. I'm a very humble person. I'm the type of person that I'm out to help anybody. If I can help you, I can help you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm not going to say, you know what, I can't help you. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try to help you. Okay? I'd rather try than help you at all. Especially when I'm in a position to help somebody and stuff like that. I can't say, guess what, F him, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? It's about me. It's not about that.
Likewise.
My thing is, if I can help you, you know what I'm saying, that's what we're supposed to do. Because you know what? We ain't passing through life for a short period of time.
We
You know what I'm
need
saying?
brothers like you, man,
Yeah.
because like this is what I'm saying. Like we can't do this alone.
Right,
We need brothers like ourselves
right.
We need them to come together.
Well, you know,
brothers and sisters.
You know what the problem is right now?
You know,
the problem is right now is that we have no leaders no more. Because we had the Malcolm X and the Dr. Kings.
Well, I strive to be that. I strive to be that. Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Forget the division people talk about between them. I strive to be the Elijah Muhammad, the Marcus Garvey, you know what I'm saying? The John Brown, who's a Caucasian. That's why I said it's bigger than skin color. Let me tell you something. The John Brown mentality, we deal with a mentality before we deal with the physicality. The physical is just the shell. We deal with that after we deal with the mindset. Because guess what? The mindset in the heart is going to determine how that physical moves throughout this process of what we're talking about. We're talking about basically a situation that's created a total psychological holocaust.
That's right.
It's a psychological holocaust. You talk about the medication. You talk about a lot of things. The medication. Hey, skills over pills. Talk therapy for me. Talk therapy create skills over pills. Pills causes, and I ain't saying pills is not necessary. I run a group home. I know how it is with some people. They are out there, they have mental challenges, they got different stuff going on. Someone will attack you, and physically the only thing to do is medicate them in a lot of cases, or institutionalize them, something like that, in order something like that, in order to have them function in society. But the psychological holocaust is real on the level where if you deal with talk therapy and put the proper information, people won't be crazy. A lot of people crazy because their information is twisted and tangled. Spelling is misspelled. It's misspelled to them. That concept in their head about life has been misspelled.
You know what the problem is too, Amar, is that the problem we have right now is the school curriculum. When I was going to school, even I got my first year of college at Virginia State, which I didn't finish, but when I went to Virginia State University, I figured I learned the same thing from first grade up to 12th grade.
I'm not in disagreement with that.
And then I'm learning
school curriculum.
I'm not learning about who we are. I'm learning about who they are. And they're afraid if they learn we being taught who we are, that we're gonna live ourselves, and you know, it's gonna be a big change out here. They're afraid that we'll take back what was once ours.
Well, they can be afraid, but people got to be honest with themselves. The black youth in the American ghetto, the American hood, needs a different education than the European suburb youth. All right? They need a different education.
That's right.
All right? Now, people can try to deny that all they want. They need a different education because they already been planted in the world for failure based on the circumstances they're born in. Where some children don't have to face, other children have to face. A lot of things I had to face, I try to keep my daughters and my youth, younger nephews, nieces, even my sons, they older than my daughters, but I try to keep them from having to face what I had to face to acquire the education and means of understanding about this world that I had to go through to learn it. So now, when saying that, I try to teach grounding methods. Because in this society, if you don't have it up here, when you need it, you're a victim. You're going to get victimized. So I tell people, we go through various grounding methods. Because things going to happen. You're going to get anxiety. You're going to get trauma from the music. From the television shows that you watch. It's going to create certain ideas that's going to lead to stress. That you don't even realize coming at you just because of what you've seen and taken in visually. Through a visual contact with this information on the TV or through your ears, however it hits your senses. But in those times, when the frustration hit from all this garbage and toxic, you got to know how to ground yourself. I don't care. It's a lot of methods. I try to give, and I'm going to tell the youth, this may not be the easiest one. The mental math method, that's one I use. The mental math method, people may find it difficult because it's different ways you could do it. You could use intervals of threes, count backwards, or you could use, actually, for an example, you can a target number like 24, for instance, and you can find equations that lead up to 24 to actually reduce your anxiety and calm yourself down and bring you back to the here and now when you can think before you have an amygdala hijack and react and kill somebody or bust somebody in the head. You got a murder charge, malicious wounding charge, all because of cravings that's being planted in you from visuals and things you're hearing that you feel like, man, I should have this right now. So now you tap into the instant gratification mode versus the delayed gratification mode.
Right.
Which is not always procrastination because you delay having gratification in that moment.
Right.
So when you got grounding methods, you can take something like the number 24 and say, let me use the mental math method.
Right.
What's 6 times 4? 24. 2 times 12? 24.
Right.
12 plus 12? 24. 48 divided by 2? 24. And you want to use a simple number that you can remember, because if you try to use a number like times and something by 17 or by 13 even, or 23, you might actually start creating difficulty and more anxiety with trying to figure those numbers out. So you use a simple number.
Right.
That's more known to you.
Right.
Have it on cap, and start as you go through that, it takes your mind off of what's causing that anxiety. And a lot of these methods, is my point for saying it can be taught to youth.
Right.
Just like I hope they learn from me saying it right then.
Right.
But I know through these curriculums, you said the curriculums are messed up in the schools,
Yes.
right? So we write curriculums at this company.
We look at certain situations like why is the dropout rate so high in schools?
Right.
Schools.
Why is it so high? Why you think it's so high?
The curriculum. If I go to school and learn the same thing over and over again, I get bored. Because I know how I was.
Right.
I'm like, this is not, you know what I'm saying? Why should got to do with me?
You have to change the scenery.
Right.
Kids are excited. They need excitement.
Right.
They learn by being excited.
Right.
No motivation, no education.
We were more than just slaves. The only thing we talk about is we were slaves and stuff like that.
Right.
We were kings.
That's demotivating.
Right, right.
They tell someone that you're a slave.
Right.
Well, actually, hold up. Let me retract that. It can be motivating.
Right.
Just to hear it. Go ahead.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you why in a minute.
We were showing that we was always slaves, not showing we was kings. You know what I'm saying? Nasa Musa was the richest man on the planet. He was we was called Moors. So me not taught that. I learned that stuff on my own. You know what I'm saying? It didn't come from school. Teacher telling me, that this is black people is so we were back in the days, and we never was taught that. So I'm learning the same thing about the same history from 1st grade up to 12th grade, my senior year in high school, and I'm like, okay, we had to do more than this. Now as I get older, all this stuff is coming out now. You know what I'm saying? They went to my Black History Month. We not a month, we a life.
I like that.
We not no month. I'm not no Black History Month.
That
I'm black every day I walk up this house.
You said
this
we
morning
like,
you woke up, you black. When I
like.
woke up, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? So the thing is, and then the schools don't teach us this about ourselves. So these kids get bored and they figure, you know what? We feel less about ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And this is now, and it goes the same thing in the music, because it portrays the music. Because when a lot of these guys are portray themselves as the hood and the ghetto and stuff like that, and they show us they're good side of Africa, right? Like we was growing up watching kids, watching TV, you would see Africa as poverty. They show the poverty side of America. So now I think less about you, think less about me. I'm African, but I say, oh, these black people in America are lazy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then we'll say these people over here is poor.
Right.
Africa is the richest continent in the world. So we're all gold and diamonds all come.
Resources,
right. So we all of a sudden now we think less about ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So when they come over to America and they figure, wow, black folks is doing pretty good over here. You know what I'm saying? And we say, we go to Africa, we go over there. It's like, wow, what you show is just a jungle. No, Africa got houses and everything, beautiful homes and stuff like that.
Right.
Showing the negative part of that country. And the same thing is that so now you see yourself like now you go back to teaching in school and stuff like that. These kids were always portrayed as negative. Now they spoon feed us about our black leaders. You know what I'm saying? Like learn about Dr. King. They talked about him. Malcolm X, they ain't teach about Malcolm X because he substituted black people.
But you're only taught on the surface. You're not taught to actually go into the possibilities of what happens if they don't get killed.
Right.
What happens if they're alive?
Right.
What happens if they continue to speak to our people like they were speaking? What would we be today versus what we are today? Right. So when you're dealing, that's why I said when you're critically thinking about things, people have to be taught to turn their critical thinking on. Because a lot of people think thinking is just thinking critical, and it's not.
And it's not.
And so we have to turn it on. When you talked about like we have a Black History not month, but a Black History life.
Yep.
That concept right there, that mentality is why I produce. My school is called Life Curriculum.
Right.
As we're talking about curriculum, to break people out of that mold of thinking that when you graduate from man's school, that your education is complete. Every day we wake up, we learning. I'm learning from you right now.
Every day we live.
And so I picked this up when you were talking about the curriculum, because that's what we do at the CDCG, the Certified Development Coaching Group. We write curriculums. We got curriculums on the winning mindset. We got curriculums on owning your own future in the now. We got curriculums on analyzing your world in the now. Different levels based on what we analyze you being at. We could tell you what curriculum will help you better. If we can do an assessment on you, or you could go in there and pick them out for you. It's just multiple avenues, because we don't like to just talk about problems. Before I even created this podcast, I wanted to make sure I had the solution. I didn't want to just talk about the problem without a solution to actually fix the things we discuss on this show. And man, I'm telling you something, man. Life is so seriously twisted now for people coming up when it comes to trying to figure out what to do and where to go, what direction to turn. It's like it's being planted so much confusion, so that the absence of peace is totally annihilated and nobody can think. And you look at what we're dealing with now, going even back into like Suge Knight, for instance, calling on a podcast explaining how he was basically wasn't allowed to have a certain lawyer. Because for what? Who get restricted from hiring a certain lawyer if you got the money to hire them? Who's against this man as a person? What did he do so bad? Well, he ain't charged with no murders and all this. And you restricting him from hiring a lawyer that he won't. He can't talk to his mama on the phone. He can't get his mail into the prisons. This man couldn't get a lot of things that a normal person could have got. Why? Because he knew too much.
Knew too much. But I think
you had to destroy everything about him.
They was intimidated by him.
Yeah, they're very intimidated by him.
And you know, his size, you know.
Not only his size, his knowledge of what happened in that industry.
Because like you said, you know, because
and how to maneuver through it. His ability to maneuver through the industry. His ability to bring unity to those street dudes. When him and Tupac is telling them, yo, come together. See, they ain't gonna tell you that he told Biggie and Tupac to come together. The media ain't gonna tell you that. Like talking about it.
They was about to. And
he said, y'all can make a diss album on Death Row with each other dissing. Y'all ain't got to beef like this, because obviously y'all love each other. He said it out his own mouth. And I don't feel like he's a liar.
No,
honestly.
You know, Suge, they portray him as a negative person. You know, a lot of these guys, some of these guys, like,
but the question is why?
I know like a Damian Dash. Damian Dash is a nice dude in person. He's about his business. And he's going to tell you, he speaks up for us. He tells you about being your own boss. You're a boss. You know that you're a boss. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Damian Dash came in this area a few times. I never got to really connect with him. But I know he came and spoke. He came to a school out here. He did it. I was just busy. I think I left one weekend and go to another state when he was in this state. That's why I couldn't catch him out of school. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you know, he's a boss. He's a businessman, and he's, you know, he let the white people know. Listen, Jay-Z's models. I only came to you for distribution. It should be, you know what I'm saying? So that's what he told them. Because he said that, he was very outspoken. They had to destroy him. You know, they used, and unfortunately, Jay bit the bone, and his second looked bigger than life.
So Jay-Z destroyed him?
Yep. Jay-Z said, they said to Jay-Z, I can look you bigger than this guy, then you get to cut him off. And look what happened. He cut him off. Jay-Z removed himself away from that circle.
Well, the streets, it was promoted to the streets pretty much that Jay-Z cut Damian Dash off for bringing in people from his organization more so that he grew up with into Jay-Z's business. When Jay-Z felt like more so, hold up. These guys don't, I mean, coming from the street, if me and you cool, but you cool with some guys out here that don't really rock with me. Don't bring them into my business.
He had a problem when he
around me, like Tom, too close now.
He had a problem when
But I don't know what happened. I'm just saying that from the street aspect.
There was a problem with him bringing Dipset, because he's from Harlem. And then, you know, Jay's from Brooklyn. So that was one of the problems, like, you know, because he had made Cameron vice president. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, but that would hurt somebody.
That would throw a fuse,
right,
good.
right,
And see, you
right.
got people looking on the outside like this is my chance to infiltrate
Right.
and divide them.
Right.
But at this point, if I'm upset
Right.
about you, basically, now I'm the brand.
Right.
All right.
Right.
I'm the brand.
Right.
Jay-Z. I'm
Right.
the brand.
Right.
You, Damian Dash. You the business entrepreneur.
Right.
I'm learning from you.
Right.
All right, no
Right.
doubt about that. We ain't gonna deny that. I'm learning from you.
Right.
You sharp. You know something. You know how to maneuver a little bit with this paperwork.
Right.
You know how to not let me get taken advantage of on certain
Right.
levels.
Right.
Let's go. Now the last person I'm respecting you now. The last thing I want is for you to make me feel like that.
Right.
Are you trying to sun me?
Right.
When I know when I'm rapping or writing these books that I write, for instance,
Right.
I'm writing them.
Right.
I'm rapping, becoming this brand.
Right.
Your knowledge of skill set, like you said, for me to hire you to help me,
Right.
gonna blow both of us up.
Right.
Cause you hiring me to help you, I'm hiring you to help me.
And we're making,
You know the industry a little more on some avenues that I don't know, but I know how to rap.
Right.
And now, as I'm rapping, I'm becoming a brand. Now you got to respect my brand.
Right.
You can't try to. I might got plans for Lil Tata over here.
Right.
You got plans for Cameron.
Right.
But Tata got my back first.
That's right.
So we need to have a real conversation. And I don't know, they might did. I don't
Right.
know the inside scoop, but I'm
Right.
telling you from a street aspect.
Right.
I need you and Cam to have a conversation with me
Right.
and let me know that y'all still got respect for this brand that I'm building too now.
Right, right.
And that you trying to help me and not be my competitor.
Right.
Because one thing about it, I don't care what you say, whether it's rap music,
Right.
whether it's healthcare,
Right.
whether it's any type of industry,
Right.
your competitor is your competitor.
That's right.
And it's like, yo, bro, now are we competing to grow a legacy together?
Right.
Or are we competing to take each other out of the game?
Right.
If we competing to take each other out of the game,
Right.
I ain't gonna let you infiltrate and take me out of the game.
Right.
Now we need to have a clear. That's why I said effective communication can change and solve a lot of things.
Absolutely.
But when I see that there's some potential discomfort or disunity going on there, some disagreement as the devil
Right.
would do.
Right.
I could infiltrate based on that.
Right.
Y'all disagreements and offer you a great salary.
Right.
And I offer you this great salary to
Right.
get away from this drama. What you gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
no, man,
Well,
you ain't trying to build that with me. You
Right.
just using me to make some money.
Right.
So basically, I got a joker here off me $500 million. I ain't no chump. They ain't gonna take advantage of me like they do y'all.
Right.
Cause I'm from this cloth. So
Right.
let me go ahead and get this $500 million.
Right.
And you stay over there and with your homeboys
Right.
and do what you got to do.
Right.
And I'm gonna get out your way and get rich.
Right.
Trust me, I had some experiences coming up.
Right.
You said that your business model at this point had actually educated you to where you're in a position now after a lot of struggle
Right.
to make certain things happen.
Right.
And we was talking earlier about how that struggle to the top is real.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
why what promoted that ex-felon experience, that said ex-felon entrepreneurship retail museum.
Right.
That entrepreneurship and retail side
Right.
is the side where we know where poverty position people for prison.
Right.
We can dismantle the poverty
Right.
through entrepreneurship and retail practices
Right.
and produce museums
Right.
all over the country
Right.
that would affect the mindset of the youth
Right.
becoming philanthropists and entrepreneurs
Well, the
and
most-
humanitarians
the most
versus
important-
criminals.
The most important thing in life is, and I tell a lot of these young kids, is you gotta have a plan. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta find a group of guys, like, I tell the hustlers, I tell them right away, you stand in the corner on somebody, you stand in front of somebody's store, right?
Mm-hmm.
They own that store.
Right,
You hustle in front of that store,
right,
okay? You, about maybe 4 or 5 guys, take that hustle money together and buy a store.
right.
Next you know what, you buy a next store.
Right.
Next thing you own the block. When I was coming up as a kid, the hustlers in Harlem, they own blocks. They didn't stand in front of the store all day to get busted. The OGs, they bought blocks. They own blocks in Harlem.
Mm-hmm.
So, when he came up, like my godfather, he owned a block in Harlem, 125th Street. He owned a lounge, then he owned apartment buildings. That's what they did back then. They didn't go out there, okay, after that you went to buy a building, need something like that, that's cool. But you own stuff, you know what I'm saying? A lot of these OGs guys, they bought stuff with their money. They didn't just go out there and splurge it on women and cars. You know what I'm saying? They own property. And I tell young black men now, take your money and you buy property. Always have something to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? Because you're out here doing this or that, and then, you know what I'm saying, that's to get you caught sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But if you take your money, invest it the right way, you always have money coming the rest of your life. I know guys in their 80s now, they're OGs, and they still got money from the 70s. You know what I'm saying? Because they put their money, they would try how to put their money into the community.
Mm-hmm.
You buy back the community, own your community. And that's what I tell guys. Don't just stand in front of the store and sell drugs all day. Make it work for you.
Yeah, we can own our community, but the thing is, we got to first own ourselves.
Right.
And see, owning yourself would lead to you owning your community.
Right.
And see, owning yourself is first having knowledge of self.
Right.
When you have knowledge of self,
Right.
you can start to execute as a leader.
Right.
For developing certain things that's needed to be developed in order to dismantle certain avenues of toxic in the communities that's causing the tragedies.
Right.
And I mean, just take a look at it, the reality, man. You said a lot right then. That's, I mean, we can't deny that in America, every time one of us have tried to build something great,
Right.
it's met a lot of restrictions and through policies and red tape.
Right.
Just to get it developed.
Right.
And why is that? Why is that? I say it exists because you have people that's gatekeepers.
Right.
So you have political toxic.
Right.
You have a lot of things besides the rap industry
Right.
and that's causing this criminal activity to escalate and become worse.
Right.
We could go into a lot of things. I think it was something I was thinking about dealing with how in the local cities,
Right.
how do we get these mayors to really take responsibility for ignoring the issues that's being discussed just long enough so they could get out a seat and pass it on to the next mayor.
Right.
And say, you fix it.
Well,
how do we stop that?
You know what the problem is, and that's a very good topic right there.
Mm-hmm.
I do that at home. I tell black people, because I said without our votes, these people are not in office.
Right.
They work for us, we don't work for them. See, people sit back and think that these people are going to take care of us. They take care of you when you're going to make noise. You have to go to the office and make some noise. Listen, they cut a lot of programs in the black communities, and we accept it. We don't fight for it.
Right.
Go to white communities. Like I was working in the white community, my job, and one thing white people don't play is I pay taxes, and you're not going to cut out funds for my children. You know what I'm saying? So they have all these things in the white community. Black community, nobody goes to the board, to the meetings and stuff like that, attend to the meetings, what's going on in the community. So a lot of times...
Do you think that's because of the lack of hope that they have for the system?
Yes, they do. The lack of hope for politicians. Their thing is...
They've been misled so many times. It's like you're swaying them back and forth. You put a Democrat there, then you put a Republican there. Then you put the next artist there. Like who? I mean, the next... and I say artist because they're designing confusion for the people of society so that they can't see what's going on in many cases.
Right.
And then when somebody really get in there and try to do something, they're ridiculed and made to look like the worst.
Right.
Just like we was talking about Suge, made it look like the worst type of music executive out there.
Right.
When in reality, he's an executive that came from the bottom.
Right. That's
but that man going through some stuff. Mama died since he been in there.
Right. Wow.
And he ain't get to go to the funeral.
Wow.
And see the thing, a lot of people don't know and they need to understand.
Right.
That man mama died after coming to that penitentiary when they gave her a hard time trying to get in there to see him.
Right.
And have a conversation with her son.
Right.
And when she left that prison, she went to a hospital.
Right.
When she went to a hospital, after that one stress led to another event. That woman passed away, pretty much. And the story, I can't give you the exact details of it, but that's pretty much in a nutshell.
And that's sad.
That's funny
because I didn't know his mother passed away.
Yeah, but a lot of people thought it was Suge that passed. It was a rumor Suge in jail. Suge Knight died. No, Suge Knight didn't die in jail. Suge Knight is alive in jail. Suge Knight's mother died after leaving that prison and trying to visit her son and going to the hospital and end up with ongoing problems that led to her death from his conversation. And so I can't, be unempathetic to what they put him through. Right. Because for one, you ain't really, you saying he's a gang member and he this, he that. But where is his crime? You paying gang members right now to make millions of dollars of music for you.
Right.
So where is his crime where he's locked up? Is his crime for knowing how to maneuver that industry? Is it a crime because he learned how to get in there and get you to offer him $700 million and wouldn't take it?
Right.
Is that his crime?
You know what's funny, is that and my father told me this a long time ago, about 30 years ago. He sat me down. He said, Darryl, basically when Michael Jackson was going through his stuff, and my father said to me, he was very successful to my dad, and he said to me, Darryl, in this country, if you become too big and powerful, they'll find a way to bring you down. His thing is, I gave it to you, but at the same time, if you don't do what I asked you to do, take it back from you. And I'll find a way to destroy.
Yeah, but it's okay to talk about the artists, but when you talk about the people who's controlling them that can bring them down, that becomes the problem in this world. And that's the problem where people gotta break out of that fear and out of that selling their soul, sell out mentality. Like, I'm gonna just let you go down and destroy you. Even with the Puff Daddy situation, he definitely may not be an angel to nobody at this point because of stuff you released to him. But even the video with him being the woman, no, I got daughters. Yeah, don't do that, Puff. Know what I'm saying? Straight up. Like, but my thing is looking at Puff Daddy. What you gonna say?
You know, but what you have to realize is that the ones that made Puff Daddy, it's the ones that signed his checks. And those are the ones that we took.
Right, but see, they the ones that's not going the names. When you start mentioning their names, anger come out. Right. Because even with the situation with Puff Daddy getting at the Ciroc company after they offered him the money that they offered him or what? I mean, after they didn't allow him to get what he felt he should get out of it. Right. And you got to ask yourself, did Puff feel like he deserved more? Because Puff felt responsible for selling liquor called Ciroc to the black community. Right. Now, and because he definitely promoted it enough where it became popular in our community. But what you got to understand, those people was already into making liquor before they met Puff. Right. And they used Puff as a brand, being that we all like Puff, to made Puff a lot of money. Puff ain't give them a whole lot of money to get involved with that. According to the word out there, Puff ain't pay much to get involved with that Ciroc did. And I imagine he wouldn't have to. And you wouldn't charge Puff to come on your show. No. You wouldn't charge Puff. You would let Puff come up there for free because he gonna brand your show. So my thing is, Ciroc gonna let Puff on for free because he gonna brand a brand. And he did, and he made millions and millions of dollars. But they also made him millions and millions of dollars. Now, when he wanted more, and he threw the temper tantrum or whatever. Then they said, okay, you calling these people racist now? Because we ain't letting you do this. So they called some people on Puff. Like the reality is they been had the information on Puff. Like I said, there ain't no new video surfacing. They been had that. But they got more stuff on a lot of artists that they have. And they like, and see when you a chump, I'm gonna say it straight up. When you a chump and you want to do bad things and be out there acting like you a gangster and like you go hard, and then but you can't stand and do a day in jail, and you think you can hide behind a bunch of money, you's a sucker. And guess what? It catch up with you very possibly. But see, when you got a dude come from that cloth, okay, I smack somebody, what you gonna do? You put me on trial or what? Alright? But see, when you got a dude that really ain't cut from that cloth, you can slander his character all over the media and hurt him just like that alone. Cause slander my character, if I got $400-500 million in my pocket, slander the character. Cause guess what? I don't care what nobody think. Because I got enough money and enough sense with that kind of money to put myself in a position where, hey bro, as much as you try to misrepresent me, I'm gonna represent me. And you gonna use that. Cause one thing I seen is this slandering and assassination of character of all these guys who made all this money. You have to ask yourself, why you let them make all that money?
To assassinate.
Why you let them make all that money and now you want to bring them down? Is it that they got this money and they done became so powerful where when they mindset changed and they like, yo, ho. I need to create some independent lanes for myself because y'all gonna leave me in poverty. But my thing is, a lot of the artists can't say they left them in poverty
Right.
when they done gave you $500 million.
Right.
They ain't leave you in poverty. Your mentality and your mindset left you in poverty.
Right.
Because you had the financial means to correct some things.
Right.
But you first didn't correct yourself.
Right.
See, what got you in that industry won't keep you in that industry.
That's right.
What got you in that industry
Right.
got you somewhere because a lot of people that gave you what they gave you
Right.
didn't think you knew what to do with it.
Right.
So they said, hey, give it to him.
Right. Right.
We're going to give it to you. You
Right.
don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So basically, we ain't got to worry about you. You
Right.
safe to have that kind of money.
Right.
But you know, a man, why is a man unsafe having that kind of money? Because he's going to do the right thing with it.
Right.
Because you're working against the demonic forces that don't
Right.
want the right thing in the
Yeah.
eyes of the people.
Right. And that's what we do. Like I tell people too, I said, well, let's take it back to the Michael Jackson situation, take it back to the Prince situation. They both went against their companies. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Jackson, and I met him in person in 1995.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you this, that man touched some kids. I could just tell, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I could tell a person within 5 minutes if I kill or not, you know what I'm saying? And I met Michael in 1995. I had to go to his hotel, take a TV to his hotel room, and I caught him before he leaving to go out to Winnebago for dinner. So when I spoke to him, and he autographed a book I had too, and you know, that was the first time.
And this Michael Jackson.
It's the first time in my life I was, you know, I'm not starstruck with anybody.
Right. But we all love Mike.
Right. To grow up in his music,
Yeah.
Jackson 5, and to see him and see the power this man had.
Right.
He's got a whole hotel floor with his staff.
Right.
I saw his power.
Yes, sir.
This man was the world.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? To see something like that, it was like,
We are the world, we are the
and
children.
Right, and I'm standing in this room. This man was leaving. You know, everybody go outside. I called me some time, but just to see him, how kind he was to me. And I said, this man, of course, he was a smart businessman. People don't understand. Barry Gordy told him the business when he was a little kid. So
Right.
He knew the business.
Because Barry Gordy had him when they was the Jackson 5.
Right. So he knew
Right.
he knew about owning masters and publishers,
Mhm.
and he was smart. You know what I'm saying? And between him, Prince, and even Irv Gotti, I know personally, what they did was, and buy into their, you know, they always say invest into in your business. Okay. So what Michael Jackson did was invest into Sony Records, because he's an artist. So he bought stock in the label.
Mhm.
Prince bought stock in Warner Music. Irv Gotti bought stock with Def Jam. That's why he's not broke. You know what I'm saying? But he bought stock with them.
Right.
Because he invested into himself.
Right.
So he bought into himself. So when him and Ty Mottola, you know, he would get Ty Mottola at the time was president of Sony. Michael Jackson came out on allegations against him being racist and stuff like that. All of a sudden now, his career is, now he's a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? So
that Mike.
Yep. So Ty Mottola was like, okay, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you Southern Power. You know what I'm saying? His last album that Michael Jackson did, his last album that he did, so he didn't promote it. You know what I'm saying? On purpose. You know what I'm saying? Michael still sells, I mean, Thriller's #1 album sold 40 years later.
Right.
It's still selling as the biggest record of all time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, anytime you're a young black man and you know your business and you go against these guys that co-sign, that sign your check, stuff like that, you do what they ask you to do, you're going to find a way to sabotage your career.
Yes, sir. And that's what they do. And they start with the media.
Yes.
They start slandering you.
Right.
And so here's also what we got to understand too is like the only way to counteract the slandering is through education about it.
That's right.
I was taught entrapment by media imagery by a brother named William Spradley, called him 14X, when I was in prison.
Right.
He taught me at a very young age
Right.
about entrapment by media imagery, and he taught me how to use the sound, the colors.
Right.
He taught me how to use certain buzzwords, and it's constantly repeated with repetition in order to actually program your psyche to not even be able to think on your own terms and
Right.
to be thinking according to the program that's been put to take totally control of the decision-making process that you're going to make with your life.
Right.
Now, in order to understand that,
Right.
you have to take some time to escape the TikTok mindset.
Right.
Because you can't learn this stuff in 30 seconds.
No.
You can't learn this stuff with the YouTube short mindset.
Right.
You can't learn it in 20, 15 seconds.
That's right.
You need 15 years.
Yes, that's right. It takes
You
years.
need not 30 seconds. You
Right.
need 30 days to get your foundation of habitual behavioral even activated to do this.
Right.
So the first key to really solving this stuff is going to be discipline.
Right.
And you can find this discipline through prayer, yoga, meditation,
right.
all type of things. But you
right.
have to understand some type of program that's going to awaken that seed and that potential, because there's hidden potential in all these youth.
Right.
And that hidden potential is being constantly buried so that they can identify it.
Right.
See, the key to using certain things in
right.
life is first to identify them.
Right.
When you can identify them, you know they there.
Right.
So you know how to walk directly to that thing that
right.
you want and pick it up and use it. Same
right.
thing. You know how to calculate it and grab it out of your mind
right.
and use it.
Right.
So for what it's worth, that's TPE at the CDCG coaching group. TPE,
right.
think, plan, execute. And so we always want people to be aware that there's nothing you going through
right.
on average
right.
where you can't get back from.
Right.
Nothing.
Right.
It's always a crack.
Right.
You just got to find it.
Right.
And you can escape that feeling of discomfort
right.
and disappointment, feeling of being demotivated
right.
to do something. You can escape that, but you gotta find that crack.
Right.
It's there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everybody around you ain't gonna be able to help you find it. In fact, there's a needle in a haystack.
Right.
But there are people around you on average that's gonna be able to help you awaken that. But
right.
it can happen, and it will happen if they give themselves some time.
Right.
Man, we spoke on a lot.
Yes, you did.
We spoke on a lot.
I'm enjoying this conversation we have.
That's good. That's good, man. We probably had to get on part 2 and part 3 of this.
Listen,
but
I'm down.
Yeah, but that's great. Like, and you're a very knowledgeable brother.
Thank you.
You know a lot of people.
Right.
You a lot of people know you. Like I said, because you have a good heart. It's hard to forget people with that good heart.
Right.
And so, what you're doing in New York,
right.
my goal is definitely to connect with you more on these projects.
Oh yeah.
And what we doing this year, we gonna when it's time to actually execute certain programs, I'm
right.
gonna keep you in the loop.
Right.
You know, just like I want you to keep me in the loop with
right.
what you're doing
right.
in the area, so we can actually make sure we merge that energy
right.
and make something great. Cause with all my contacts in Newark, New Jersey,
right.
which is right there, it might as well be New York.
Right.
You in Newark,
oh man,
New York.
I got some people that a friend of mine is Erica Ford. She has a thing called Life Camp.
Okay.
She's very well known. She's
Life Camp.
Yes, that's
big ups to that.
Yeah,
That's
and Kings and Kings Foundation, the Vitalo brothers, they also are big in New York. These guys were big time drug dealers. They came home like yourself, and they started a company called Kings and Kings Foundation,
mm-hmm.
where they have a couple of vans. They go around the community, patrol the community.
Mm-hmm.
And talk to their gang members, keep them out of trouble, you know what I'm saying? Stop the violence and stuff like that, you know. They have toured with Bill Cosby, a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? So,
what year was that they had toured with Bill Cosby?
I think in the early 2000s. I'm very close to them.
See, people don't understand. Bill Cosby was involved in a lot of community development,
right?
And you know that it's crazy how he was made to be shut up.
Yes.
And people don't see that.
Well, you know, people, you know,
they don't see that.
It's
the
sad.
Doctor.
Right.
He was the doctor. He was our image of a doctor with a family.
Right.
You can't find that image on TV no more.
Nope.
He was our image of that doctor, that black man that I looked at on TV, and I said, "Oh, I want a wholesome family.
Right.
I want some children and a wife and a
career
not to be a drug dealer.
When you look at the
or a gang member killing my people.
You look at
not saying that all they don't do that, but hey,
you look at show that good times back then. Your father was always going through a struggle, trying to hold on to a job. Cosby Show showed us that black family, two black successful, a mother and father, raising a family in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? And he portrayed basically, he went to buy NBC one time. They didn't want to own it. You know what I'm saying? And things happened to him. I mean, they said death of his son could have been a part of that situation.
Who, Enos?
Yes.
Yeah, Enos was killed in California.
Right, because he wanted to buy, because at the time, and Bill Cosby had the money to buy NBC.
Mm-hmm.
But then, once again, they didn't want us to control nothing. You know what I'm saying? They want us to be on a certain level that they could always still call shots on us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, like yourself, like a young black man, got your own. I respect you and I'm proud of what you're doing. You're doing some big stuff down here. And I like it, and I'm definitely going to help you out, but I could possibly do it on my behalf. And I mean it, you know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, bro.
Because you're doing a lot of big things out here, and that should be talked about, you know, and people got to hear what you're saying, and you tell your story.
Right.
Don't nobody tell your story. You tell your story. You know what I'm saying? We got other people of our color telling our story.
Right.
Enough of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna do a documentary about how it's my area I grew up at. I'm gonna tell my story. I'm not gonna have somebody else tell my story.
That's right.
Because you ain't been where I've been.
Right.
And I ain't been where you've been. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm supposed to tell your story is yourself.
And they need you to tell your story because it's you have that empirical evidence.
Right.
So at the Certified Development Coaching Group, we teach empirical evidence coaching.
Right.
So we want people to coach based on what they've been through. You know that experience. In any class training I go in and teach,
Right.
I always let the people know
Right.
off the top. Okay, it's 10 of y'all in here, 15, whoever.
Right.
All right, this is what it is.
Right.
The greatest education in this room right now is in you. Because all of y'all have an experience that I know nothing about.
Right.
What I put in this curriculum as a terminal objective
Right.
is one thing, but that is what I know.
Right.
I know what that terminal objective is.
Right.
You know things about your life I don't know, and when you teach me based on that,
Right.
you're going to empower me different.
Right.
And so an empirical evidence coach coaches from experience, not theory.
Right.
So it ain't based on their degree, it's based on their life.
That's right.
What they've been through.
That's
So
right.
yeah, that's dope, man, that you able to like just you able to just like pick on and I can tell you're gonna take your concept of building your legacy far.
Yeah.
Because you already have taken it where a lot of people would have quit right now.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
people
You
said to
taking
me-
it. You
somebody said to me, they say, no doubt, you know, one thing
I see you getting a lot more Emmys, bro.
Yeah, I hope so.
I see you
I want to
getting
get
a
an Oscar.
Yeah, hey, it'll come. It'll come.
But you know what? I'm the person.
See it.
I tell people, I'm not a me person. I'm a we person.
Right.
You can't build a corporation off of me.
No.
You gotta have surrounding people. We all going to be on the same page. And one thing we all can't be is greedy.
That's
And
not.
that's just hurt.
That's out.
That's hurt a lot of black people because there's that one person that wants more than the other. I'm not a greedy person. Listen, Christ broke bread with his disciples, and so can I.
Man, I gave so much money away to people, man, and looked out to so many people, man. I ain't gonna lie, at times, the lady, my family and the women in my family that made me look at myself like, hold up, man, have I got soft?
Right.
I'm just giving away my money, letting dudes have this, letting them have that.
Right.
Like, I'm like, oh, ho.
Right.
And then they don't understand, like, I don't have a heart that don't believe in people.
Right.
I believe that everybody can be something tomorrow. You don't know what a person gonna wake up and become.
That's right.
And why should they wake up and become something great and you feel that you should be connected to their greatness if when you in a great position you don't share with them?
Right.
And believe in their potential to be that great.
Right.
And why should they come back and share with you?
You know,
So I believe in always sharing is caring, man, and
Right.
sharing is having empathy.
Right. You know what, I tell people, and I got guys been in prison and I grew up with, and first thing I tell them is that, you know, don't go back to what put you there. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you can love your homeboy, stuff like that and everything like that, but, you know, I got a few guys that came home, they had a plan. Their plan was to go back to the same thing what they've been through before. And they made a big difference, like a change in their life, like yourself. You know what I'm saying? So I tell a lot of young boys, come out with a plan. Have a plan.
Right.
You come out because, you know, you can change. You
That's
can
right.
You can be a big difference in my life.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, our young black men need it, you know what I'm saying, real bad because it's just so much, the music-wise, and there's so much going on right now in today's time that we're dealing with, you know? And society has made them, you know, a target, you know what I'm saying? And we got, you know, get that target removed off of them, you know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, these dudes get into fights, they kill each other for no reason.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you get into a fight, everybody loses. The killer loses, the family loses, nobody wins.
Right.
Nobody wins at the end, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
But you know what, I tell people, whatever happens in those streets, what you went through, I wasn't there. I'm not gonna knock you because everybody has a reason, you know what I'm saying? It could be intimidation, it could be extortion, we don't know what went on, you know what I'm saying?
But the key thing you said, I want them to keep on. Everybody have a keep in mind. I want them to take from what you just said.
Right.
Everybody has a reason,
Right.
but everybody loses.
Right.
in that situation.
Right.
There's no winning.
Right.
The one go to prison don't lose.
Right.
The ones who lose the family member, that
Right.
family don't lose.
Right.
Both families lose somebody.
Right.
Nobody wins.
Nobody
for real.
wins. Nobody wins.
And because everybody experienced the trauma and the pain,
Right.
we have the loved ones connected in them. So you're looking
Right.
at victims on both sides. One
Right.
for the one goes to prison, the family that love
Right.
that person is victimized by them going.
That's
The
right.
person that loses a family member to death or murder, homicide, gun
Right.
violence, suicide, whatever,
Right.
they're also in pain from
Right.
that loss.
Right.
So yeah, nobody wins except the lawyers that's getting paid
Right.
for the try to save you
Right.
from going
Right.
and using all your parents' emotional care for you to
Right.
suck every dime out their pocket in most cases.
Right.
Not all. You have some lawyers that's real like on it, like nah, I got this.
Right.
But then you have some that they just straight selling you out.
Right.
And they just all about let me get that money and that's
Right.
just that. You know,
Right.
face. This is what it is.
But then, so we have to look at too, you know, especially if you have children out there, but you know, and children need their fathers. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And I know that we're gonna give up a situation. I don't need no man. I need a man. You need a man.
That's right.
Okay. You need a man because he has to mold your household. Okay. He's a leader in the family. You know what I'm saying? You have to teach your children no matter what he's done in life, have the respect for their father.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You have to teach our sons that, our children, our daughters, the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times it's, sometimes kids come from, broken parents, a household. I thank God I didn't have that growing up. I had strong men in my family, uncles and cousins, stay on my, you know what I'm saying? So I appreciate them growing up because even like, there's a time my father wasn't there for me. He was doing his thing, his own thing and stuff like that. I didn't resort to the streets, and but the OGs kept me out of trouble. They said, "Yo, Darryl, you have potential to go to school and become something." You know what I'm saying? Show these rest of the guys in the neighborhood that you could be something.
And you did that.
Yeah.
You took that experience and
Right.
you did that.
Right.
You did that, man. And I love that about you.
Right.
You didn't allow nothing you went through
Right.
to destroy you. You, like you said, a lot of people that use the father thing more in my life or
Right. Yeah.
father on this, and I'm like, yo, at some point you got to digress and come to realization that, hey, okay, that was my experience.
Right.
Now, let me capitalize my life off of what I've been through. Because there's another child who was without a father
Right.
that can be saved based on me saving myself
Right.
and not having my father. So
Right.
I learned how to save myself
Right.
without having an absentee
Right.
of a father in my life.
Right.
I can teach other children how to learn how to save themselves. That right there is motivation alone.
Exactly.
That's right there. Find yourself in that.
If you look if you look at a lot of great people that we have, they didn't have their fathers.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Not everybody had their fathers, but they became very successful, and they use that. Like they use that energy to build a success. I mean, you can't live off of pity.
Even without a father, though, that's why the village is so important.
Right.
You said I had the OGs in the hood.
Right.
They still raised. They was your father. They was your. That was
That's
your. A father is if you break the word down.
Right.
Yeah, we ain't women, but
Right.
it's fat her.
Right. Right.
Fat her.
Right.
It fattens. The
Right.
father fattens her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That earth you talking about.
Right.
That they talk about Mother Earth.
Right.
The father fattens that mother, and
That's
that
right.
fattening of that mother leads
Right.
to the fattening of that male and female child. That
That's
male
right.
and female child that's produced through the
Right.
womb of that woman
Right.
is taught by that woman first as the first teacher.
That's right.
She's in there he or she is in that womb for 9 months.
That's right.
And or sometimes a little longer or coming out earlier, but they're in there being nurtured for months.
Right.
And everything that woman have been taught
Right.
is going into that baby.
Right.
So that even before it's fully born, because if you understand,
Right.
the first thing to develop in that child is that heart.
Right.
That heartbeat is that symbol of life.
That's right.
And so, that's why we talk about the core, the empathy chamber. I talk about the heart. That's the first sign of life.
That's right.
See, if your heart is dead, then your mind will be dead.
That's right.
You know, if
That's
because
right.
it don't matter how much knowledge you got, you're gonna use it wrong if your heart is dead.
That's right.
And a lot of people say, well, your heart ain't being you dead. No.
Right.
Your heart can be being and you walking all around and you're
Right.
still mentally dead because your heart has been so hardened due to your experience of toxic in this society.
Right.
And when we like that, when we are like that and we get like that, we have to be able to identify what's going on and correct it by saying, hey, something got to happen. We need change.
That's right.
Man, I done talked to you. I'm gonna keep talking to you and talking to you. So I'm gonna end this, because but you coming back.
Yes, I am.
Definitely been good building with you, man. You got anything, Darryl, you want to say to the people before you leave, man?
Yes,
anybody want to shoot out anything?
If you want to contact me, I'm Darryl Pringle on Facebook. I'm Darryl Pringle 3 on Instagram. Feel free to call me, talk to me, and I'm a type of person, a very humble person, and
he is.
If I can help you, I can help you. You know what I'm saying? We all need direction. Somebody help me. You know what I'm saying? That JMSJ, LL Cool J opened doors for myself, and I never took them for granted. And I appreciate them what they did for myself, because now I can help other people open up doors too for themselves. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
If you need that type of guidance, stuff like that, feel free to hit me on Instagram and Facebook.
That's what's up. And we appreciate that. And definitely hit him up on some serious stuff, not just some random conversation about your wish list.
Right.
Like hit him up on some real structure that if you're trying to make something happen, man.
Right.
And likewise, don't hit me up on my Facebook, on none of my social media accounts, emails, phones, or nothing. If you're not serious about developing these communities, I don't care what your walk of life is. I'm not against any of my people. I don't care what they dealing with. I don't care if they've been painted negative for being a Blood, a Crip, a GD, a Vice Lord. I don't care what you've been painted. No negative picture of you. If you are serious about education before incarceration and helping our people develop a means of legacy to leave for our youth to fall on as a foundation for good on their behalf, then definitely contact me and we're gonna make something happen. But if you're not, I'm not gonna let you waste my time. The reality is I'm not looking for anybody to do any more work than I'm willing to do myself. And with that being said, I appreciate my brother Darryl. I'll let him have the last word. You know what I'm saying? You got anything else you want to tell him for your last words before I close this out?
Like my brother Amar said, no nonsense. If you want to hit me on Instagram, Facebook, have something positive to say, we could build together and stuff. So that everybody can have a good life for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, our babies is getting killed out here. You know what I'm saying? These are young black men getting killed out here. We gotta stop this. You know what I'm saying? And especially these rap artists, man. This beef stuff, we keep talking about beef. Come on. And back in the days, when Tupac and Biggie got killed, there was no East Coast West Coast war. I'm telling you that. There was none of that, because in that case, you could have came to New York or went to LA and not get killed. You know what I'm saying? So my thing was, Vibe magazine back in the days, they was the ones that put it out there, and we fed into it. So we gotta stop feeding into negative energy. Before you feed into something, do the research first. Find out first before you go on, this and that, this and that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we definitely got caught up into a West Coast, East Coast beef due to how it was marketed to our mentality, because I had love for the West Coast.
Me too.
And I still have love for the West Coast. I was wilding out on the East Coast. As soon as I go to the West Coast, I get in some trouble, some more trouble that I didn't had to come right back to the East Coast. Before I get to the West Coast, they threw me back in penitentiary. They threw me in the penitentiary for a decade of my life. That's another story I talk about one day. But yeah, the West Coast, very interesting how I end up getting caught up in some of that little minor East Coast, West Coast beef. And at the time, nowadays with my wisdom, I question, why did Biggie get killed after making the song like about how he loved the West?
That's right.
And he said, what did he say? I don't want to mess my man words, so I supposed to know all the Biggie songs. He smoke some nice cess in the West. He said, smoke some nice cess in the West. Seen some nice breasts in the West.
Right.
I ain't gonna keep saying it. But my point is, he was like, the West, he said, y'all think I'm gonna stop giving LA props? Y'all niggas a mess. That's what he said. And so he was still having love for the West Coast. So at a time, if you listen to his lyrics, when he's trying to dismantle that thought about beef with the West Coast, he gets killed. That ain't no coincidence, man. You know what I'm saying? And because a lot of this, if you go back, and I'm going to close out in a minute, but if you go back to consider this bonus information, if Krayzie Boone said that people got kicked out and they had goons at the door pretty much, if you don't want to being here and sign up for this, you need to exit right now. And you got a problem. Basically, we got the killers at the door to take care of you right now. So exit. And some exit, some stayed. And so when you look at that reality of these artists that had these direct experience, that's what I mean when I talk about empirical evidence. This is not theory they're talking about. They're talking about their direct experience with executives who are school boards with militias behind them. That basically these militias are they're goons. And so they don't want. And a lot of this envy is for these young children that are connecting to gang activity. And yeah, the unity that they're building is with a bad intent in many cases. But guess what? There's a lot of people that love for them to keep being unified for the bad intent. And their only issue of being afraid is that they're unified and become educated on a good intent, on taking care of each other and building an economy amongst one another where they don't need nobody to produce an economic base for them. See, when you have an economic floor base in any country, pay attention to Marcus Garvey and what he was trying to tell you. If you have an economic floor base, you can make some, and Clark Anderson tells you the same thing. You can make some means of decisions in the courts, in the media, how the information takes place in politics. You can affect politics, media, court systems, policing in your community, and all other aspects if you got an economic floor base. But if you don't have an independent economic floor base, your voice and your actions will be controlled. They will put people in position and make you look like you don't know what you're talking about, like you're ignorant. It's happened not only to people around me, I've even seen it potentially happen to me due to the training of these. I'm not saying somebody told this particular mayor or this city manager to ignore me. No, their education taught them to be envious and jealous of the solution. Because they have to politically present themselves to the people as the solution. Let me lead the city. Let me do this. But the problem still exists after you lead the chair. Because you ain't sought no real solution to curing the problem, because they've been taught before they got there not to care about it and to try to get in the spotlight for their family and friends and all the people they graduated. So everybody that know them can look at them and say, oh, yeah, you a leader. And really they ain't leading nobody to nothing but straight destruction. Peace. That's your episode for the Press Today, the Prison Release Education Sanity Series. You tuned in with Amar Skinner and my brother Darryl. Don't take it for granted. We got more conversations like this coming to you before they try to take us out for telling the truth. And guess what? Everybody gonna die.
That's right.
And I ain't saying nobody trying to kill me, but I know everybody gonna die. If you scared to die, guess what? You gonna be controlled even if you get the knowledge. So you already might as well go ahead and stay where you at. So it take a real soldier to have the truth and tell the truth. Other people that depending on somebody to give them something all the time, guess what you're doing? You scared to lose, bro.
That's right.
Cause you ain't got to give me what I need for me not to be in poverty. Cause if I'm not basically gonna sit around and with the handout, I'm gonna create some means to create that which I need. We are natural creators. We're given the ability to create. And like I said, I'm not against my black people. I'm not against my white Americans. I'm not against my Asian Americans. But you know, this is the thing. I'm not against people that's not American. But here's what I will say. I'm against anybody who want to keep me in poverty. If you're not trying to allow me to stay out of poverty so I can protect and provide the safety and security for me and my community, then guess what? You are an enemy. And you're operating like one in secrecy. You know who you are, and you know you can help move these museums to stop dismantling, to basically not stop, but to dismantle the criminal mind development in the youth if you want to. You can help fund ex-felon entrepreneurship, retail museums all across the country and allow the resources to funnel in to provide the labor force that need to be in those museums to connect people to these programs and things that they need around this country to stop this mentality. It helped me, and I know it helped somebody else because it's not theory, it's empirical evidence. Peace. enter the ex-felon entrepreneurship retail museum and pay for their education now or pay for their lawyers later. We're here to prevent that. Let's go.